can start tearing it apart. You can start saying, hey, that doesn't follow. All right? So the first form of discrimination, there are 5 forms of discrimination, 5 modes that they use to discriminate against preborn. First is that they have a sense of superiority. They have feelings of superiority over our youngest children, okay? And that's just sled and leads. We just went over that, okay? I'll tell you about a story of a pro-choice rabbi. We just asked him when he told what's the difference between this and like the Holocaust or something like that. He said, well, they're not real human beings. So we said, well, isn't that just discrimination? He said, you know what? We don't have that kind of consistency on our side. I couldn't believe it when he said that. You know, he was in a panel. I didn't really tell you what was going on. It was a panel of so-called pro-choice pastors and religious. And he was one of them. He said, you know, we don't have that kind of consistency in treating people on our side. We don't have that kind of clarity. And I was about to, my jaw just dropped, and I didn't know what to do because he was admitting the thing. All right? So, moving on. The second form of discrimination, again, it's all top to bottom discrimination, okay, in the mindset. Feelings of superiority lead to neglect and omission. Okay, where did that happen? What example did we just have? Wolbott's killing fields, correct? All right? If you can completely neglect something, the typical example is my body, my choice. There's nothing about the preborn. It's just a mindset of discrimination and dehumanization. All right? They fail to mention the existence of preborns. And overall, there's a greater mindset in our society of just neglect. Okay, so we can address that. We have ways to address that. So by neglecting their existence, preborns are dehumanized, and so therefore logic can be carried forward. But dehumanization is simply the bitterest of discrimination. It was done to blacks, Tutsis, and Cambodians in recent history. And again, this is just a way to break down what you're hearing in society. We're going to find out how to make this positive, how to make this beautiful. Because right now it's ugly that people treat each other this way. Okay? The second example, how can you be pro-life and for-war? How do they know about my stance? You know, but you get it all the time. Well, especially in the last election cycles, right? So they said the heart of these types of questions, there are many questions like this. They have an ulterior motive. They want to do something for society. Okay? The heart of these questions are moral and political concerns that can be good. They can be good. They might want to stop unjust war. They might want to stop torture. They might want to feed children. They might have a motive out there, okay? They might want to support their certain political candidate. But they have an ulterior motive, and they're using that motive to justify the legal discrimination against these preborns. All right? And they feel strongly about it, and for maybe even for a good reason, and that's what's wild about it, because they might have a good reason, okay? So ulterior motives discriminate by placing agendas for some human beings above the very lives of others. Diminishing human beings is convenient to advance an agenda, but not even a good agenda can justify lethal discrimination. All right, the fourth motive, they despair about society. How will we feed all of these children? And again, all this is in my book, so you don't need to write this down. There are even more examples in my book. I'm just trying to compact the pro-life argument for us, so we can go out there with greater confidence, right? This is to say, since we can't take care of people, when they say, how will we feed all these children? This is to say, since we can't take care of all these people, okay, we should be able to kill them. If you just undo the language, it's a very flat thing to say, because they neglect the preborn. Again, a mindset of neglect and omission. All right, they have compassion and good intentions, however misguided, but they arbitrarily prioritize resources for a select group of people, but they fail to give a justification why they wouldn't want to give it to a different group of people. And because they do it all arbitrarily, this is just discrimination. They confuse priority of the right to life. They say don't legislate morality. If we just plain decode the statement, all right, it says people ought to be free even to kill innocent human beings. That's what's going on. And why is this discrimination? They switch the priority of the right to life over liberty just for a select group of human beings. Okay? But because it's arbitrary. It's just it's like the arbitrary color of my skin compared to the color of your skin. Okay? Arbitrary characteristics, just like all the sled characteristics, has nothing to do with anything that's substantial about the fact that we're all each a human being. This again is discrimination. So this entire thing, this entire way of thinking is built around discrimination. Okay? 1 second. Isn't that it's pretty nuts? Does everybody kind of agree with that? Kind of get a feel for that? It's probably not too hard to grasp. I'm hearing a lot of head nods, so that's good. So I have a question for you, and I want to know why. We know that so-called pro-choice positions discriminate, but who else discriminates? See, I have to play fair now. Anybody, give it to me. There's group. PETA? No. There's only one other group that discriminates. Who could that be? If you're not pro-choice, you're... Well, how do pro-lifers discriminate? I'm telling you, the top to bottom, the entire thing of this pro-life movement is based around this one principle that people say that justice should only be preferred for some. Go ahead.
I don't know if this is what you're getting at, but I know that I've been faced with difficulty in my own beliefs in terms of being pro-life and
there you go.
penalty issues.
Okay. There's a certain level of inconsistency there. But the other group that discriminates, in general, you pointed it out, I'm just going to run with what you said, okay, is that it's pro-lifers. Okay? Is that it is pro-lifers, of course, but why? Why? I'm sorry if I'm kind of running through this, okay? Just a little bit of time. We're going to get to the good stuff, though. This is kind of all ugly right now. Pro-lifers have an analogous situation with abortion supporters. If they would drop everything to rescue any group of born people who are being killed at a rate of 1.2 million per year, but fail to do the same for preborns, that too is discrimination. This is the point where you think about everybody in your life if they're not dropping everything that they have to rescue preborns. That's a heavy statement. Hold on. That's a heavy, because you don't want to sit there and think, what's going on? How come my friends aren't doing this? What I call this is the tolerance of abortion as a form of discrimination. Even those people who are pro-choice or who are pro-life personally, they tolerate it. And by tolerating the killing of a human being, you're saying you're not good enough for me. Our children are not good enough for our protection. It all revolves around the same thing. Okay? What if 1.2 million Hispanics were legally killed every year? What would you do? Okay? Brian Kemper, he talks a lot this way. Okay? Stan Sure, he's also spoke this morning about his book. My statement for this, the ultimate, the distilled phrase, I like to give these out, preferential unconcern is discrimination. When it comes to a matter of a grave injustice. Okay? Because it says, you don't need to be protected. You don't need rights. I'm not going to have to do anything to help out with that. Especially, not even if it's 1.2 million children being killed. This is heavy. This is heavy. This is what gets a lot of my friends a little like, whoa, what are you talking about? Are you calling me discriminatory? Are you saying this isn't any good? This could get really ugly real quick if you don't know what to do with it. So we have to, it may radically change our view of our fellow pro-lifers, okay? So we have to be careful with our judgment. We first have to ask a question, okay? And that is, why aren't all pro-lifers engaged in protecting preborns? Let me check the time real quick. So why aren't all pro-lifers engaged in protecting preborns? And the basic answer is just as follows. Some pro-lifers haven't comprehended the tragedy. That's what it comes down to. All right? Others don't know what to do about it. But the problem of comprehension, as we know now, is one of education, courage, or priority. Putting the priority of babies who are being killed above everything else in our lives, because that's what we would do for any other group of human beings, lest we discriminate. Okay, so everyone here is already doing it. This is beautiful. I'm surrounded by friends. I mean, it's not like pat in the back type thing, but you know, you should take heart to know that there are other people out there who are actually have sanity. This is just sanity. Okay? So the second shows a problem with effective action. All right? Some people just don't know what to do about it. I've met so many people who simply don't know what to do about the problem of the preborn killing. So we could renew our pro-life message. So what are the problems of indifference? Some are simply accustomed to being pro-life. I'm pro-life. Yeah, that's my label. You know, I'm on the right side of the issue. That's fine enough for some people. But what happens if 1.2 million people are being killed? Is it fine just enough to be pro-Hispanic? It's not. All right? Some think they're too busy, or that pro-life is just an issue. The one thing you should never call the pro-life movement and preborns, never you should call a human being an issue. Okay? This is not an issue. This is not even close to an issue. This is a human rights tragedy. This is an atrocity against a member of the human family. Okay? And especially at the rate at which it's killing. Some people are not confident in sharing their pro-life message. Others are intimidated by all the little gunshots, the yelling, everything like that that's going around. Okay, that's the problem of people who haven't comprehended the tragedy, because all they see is the wrong things. All right? Others are just looking for an effective group to join. Other people want to do something, but they don't know how to prioritize, how to get other people to prioritize it and get people to do things with them. Others don't have a good media outlet. And others just can't shake the stereotypes. I've had that. People said to me, well, I just picture you guys as being kind of people who yell at people all day long. All right? So this is our battle. This is our battle. You know, Martin Luther King in his speeches, some people say it was just about civil rights and all that kind of stuff. If you listen closely, so much of it is just about